Alright, strap in because Jack London's The Call of the Wild kicks off like one of those survival video games where your pampered character suddenly gets yeeted into chaos. Meet Buck, the main doggo, living his absolute best life on a bougie ranch in sunny California. This dude's like the golden retriever version of a trust fund kid, big, strong, and straight chillin'. Buck doesn't have to work or worry about anything because his human, Judge Miller, spoils him rotten. The ranch is basically his kingdom. Life is Gucci. But hold up, things take a nasty turn when this low-key shady gardener, Manuel, decides to sell Buck to pay off some gambling debts. Like, seriously, bro? Buck gets snatched away like a noob getting ganked in League of Legends. He gets loaded onto a train, and it's game over for his cushy life. Now Buck's first encounter with the real world is rough, literally. These guys called dog traders are not about hugs and biscuits. Buck tries to square up, showing off his alpha energy, but they're like, nah, and one dude bashes him with a club. Harsh, right? It's like the first time you realize NPCs can totally kill you if you're not careful. Buck figures out pretty quick that fighting back isn't the move here, the club is boss. He stores that info in his mental hard drive and learns the survival rule, adapt or die. When Buck finally gets shipped up north, things get even wilder. He's sold to this duo, Francois and Perrault, who are delivering mail in the Canadian wilderness via dog sleds. These guys know what's up, they're tough but not cruel. Buck's thrown into the sled dog life faster than you can say, welcome to the grind. And trust me, it's not cozy. It's cold, brutal, and every dog is out for themselves. Buck meets a bunch of sled dogs, including Spitz, the team leader who's got major villain energy. Spitz is like that one toxic gamer who always flexes on everyone, and Buck is not having it. Here's the kicker, Buck has no idea how to sled or survive in the snow. Back in California, he'd probably never even seen snowflakes, and now he's literally neck deep in it. But Buck's a fast learner. Watching the other dogs, he figures out stuff like how to dig a snow den to stay warm at night. He also learns that food is a savage competition, and if you're slow, you're starving. One time, another dog steals Buck's food, so Buck starts stealing food himself. It's not cute, but hey, survival's a dirty game. Oh, and let's talk about instincts. Buck's inner wolf starts waking up. It's like he downloaded some prehistoric DLC that's been dormant in his DNA. He starts feeling the vibes of his wild ancestors, the ones who didn't need humans to survive. When he hears howling wolves in the distance, it's like he's being called to the ultimate nature party. But Buck's not all the way there yet. Right now, he's balancing his old spoiled dog self with this new hardcore survival beast he's becoming. Back to the sled squad, tensions are rising, mostly because Spitz is a total troll. He bullies the weaker dogs and tries to assert dominance over Buck. But Buck's not backing down. He's starting to see himself as the true alpha, and every little challenge from Spitz feels like one of those slow burn boss fights where you just know something epic is coming. Buck's strength and intelligence are leveling up daily, and it's clear he's gunning for Spitz's throne. By the end of Chapter 2, Buck is basically a new dog. He's no longer the clueless California rich pup, he's out here mastering the frozen tundra like it's his own personal Minecraft server. Life is brutal, sure, but Buck's thriving in this wild, savage way that would make any anime protagonist proud. He's figuring out how to move through this icy, dog-eat-dog world without losing his cool. And here's the wildest part, Buck isn't just surviving, he's evolving. You can feel this tension building, like he's caught between two worlds, the comfy, human-controlled life he left behind and the raw, untamed wilderness that's calling to him. It's only a matter of time before something, or someone, forces him to pick a side. And if you think Buck's story is intense now, trust me, the real glow-up is just getting started. Alright, let's dive into chapters 3 and 4 of The Call of the Wild, because this is where Buck goes full-on beast mode and the drama cranks up like a Netflix show you can't pause. Buck's wild side is officially unlocked, and he's gunning for top dog status. Like, literally. So, chapter 3 kicks off with Spitz, the current team leader and Buck's archenemy, still being his annoying, try-hard self. Spitz is like that one toxic teammate who trash-talks you in a group game and then takes credit for your kills. Buck has had it. The tension between them is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Spitz keeps trying to pull dominance moves, but Buck's not playing anymore. You can almost hear the anime boss fight music ramping up in the background. Things hit the fan when the team gets attacked by wild dogs. These aren't just your regular pups, they're starving, feral, and ready to throw hands, or paws, I guess. It's absolute chaos, like a Call of Duty Zombies round where you're running low on ammo. Buck holds his own like the Chad he's becoming, but this battle leaves the team shaken and exhausted. Later, Spitz tries to flex his authority again by ambushing Buck while he's distracted. Classic dirty move, right? But Buck's been leveling up. It's like he's been grinding XP this whole time, and now he's ready to throw down. When the fight finally happens, it's no contest. Spitz goes for the kill, but Buck counters like a pro. He doesn't just fight, he outsmarts Spitz, breaking his legs and leaving him for dead. Savage. Spitz is officially yeeted from the top dog throne, and Buck's like, yeah, I run this now. With Spitz out of the picture, Buck expects to be promoted to leader ASAP. But Perrault and Francois, the humans running the sled team, don't make it easy. They try to put another dog in charge, but Buck's like, oh, you thought? He straight up refuses to work unless he's in charge. Eventually, the humans get the message and let him lead, and Buck shows everyone he's not just brawn, he's brains too. The sled team starts crushing it under his leadership. Even the other dogs are like, alright, this guy's the real deal. Now we roll into chapter 4, and things are getting even more intense. Buck is thriving in his role as the alpha. He's got the squad running smoother than a speedrun in Minecraft. Francois is hyped about how strong and fast the teams become, thanks to Buck's leadership. They're delivering mail across the frozen north like champs, breaking records and everything. Buck's out here living his best life, but deep down, something's stirring. It's that call of the wild again, whispering to him like, you don't belong to anyone. You're a king out here. Unfortunately, life in the wilderness isn't all dubstep soundtracks and victory dances. The humans sell the sled team to a new group of mail carriers who are way less cool. These guys work the dogs to the bone, and it's brutal. They're hauling heavy loads through crazy snowstorms, and the vibe goes from squad goals to how are we even alive right now? Dogs start dropping from exhaustion, and it's rough to watch. Buck pushes through, but you can tell he's not just surviving, he's transforming. His instincts are sharper, his body's stronger, and his vibe? Pure alpha energy. Through all of this, Buck starts having these intense dreams. It's like he's loading into a prehistoric VR game. In these dreams, he sees himself as a wild wolf dog running free with his ancestors. It's a whole different level of primal, and it's messing with his head. You can tell the leash of civilization is slipping, and the wild is calling louder than ever. By the end of chapter 4, Buck's no longer the same dog who was stolen from sunny California. He's a force of nature now, more wolf than pet, and he knows it. The humans might think they're in charge, but Buck is playing a much bigger game. He's not just surviving the wilderness, he's conquering it, one snowy step at a time. And you can feel it, this is only the beginning of his epic rise. Alright, so chapters 5 and 6 of The Call of the Wild? Absolute roller coaster. Buck's out here learning hard truths, dodging disasters, and figuring out who's actually worth his loyalty. It's like watching a survival anime mixed with one of those redemption arcs where the hero finally catches a break, kinda. Chapter 5 starts with Buck and the squad getting sold to this trio of walking red flags, Hal, Charles, and Mercedes. These three make every bad decision possible and don't even realize they're the clowns in their own circus. Like, imagine a new party in Dungeons & Dragons trying to navigate a high-level campaign. That's them. Hal's the hot-headed idiot who thinks yelling solves everything, Charles is the useless sidekick, and Mercedes? She's got major diva energy, whining nonstop and treating the sled dogs like her emotional support plushies. Spoiler alert, none of them are ready for the wild. From the jump, it's a mess. They overload the sled with way too much junk, like they're packing for an apocalypse, and then expect the team to pull it all. The dogs are already exhausted, and the sled barely moves. When experienced mushers in the camp warn them about their setup, Hal pulls the ultimate I know better move and ignores them. Classic. Instead of fixing the real problem, they start checking stuff off the sled, but instead of ditching useless junk, they toss essentials like food. Big brain moves, right? Now the whole squad's starving, and tensions are sky high. Buck, who's already had it with bad humans, is doing his best, but the team's falling apart. Dogs are dropping like flies because these fools don't know how to pace themselves or feed their animals. Hal's solution? More whipping. Buck's like, nah, I've seen this movie before, and I'm not playing along. He's done giving them effort when they don't even deserve his respect. You can feel the shift, Buck's becoming more wild, more independent. He's realizing these humans aren't leaders, they're liabilities. The trio finally stumbles into John Thornton's camp, and this guy? Total game changer. Thornton's got that rugged, wise survivalist vibe, think Geralt of Rivia, but in the Yukon. He sees Buck collapsing under Hal's abuse and steps in like, touch this dog one more time and I'll end you. Hal tries to flex, but Thornton doesn't back down, and you just know he's the real alpha in the room. Buck senses it too. When Hal tries to drag him forward, Buck straight up refuses to move, lying there like, I'd rather die than deal with you clowns any longer. Thornton takes Buck in, and it's like a breath of fresh air, for Buck and for us. Meanwhile, Hal, Charles, and Mercedes push ahead without him, heading onto thin ice. And guess what? Instant karma. The ice breaks, and they all fall through, sled, dogs, and all. Buck doesn't even look back, he's with Thornton now, where things actually make sense. Chapter 6 is where Buck starts living his best life, or as good as it gets in the wild. Thornton treats him with respect, kindness, and actual care. It's a total 180 from the nightmare Buck just escaped. For the first time in forever, Buck gets to rest and heal. His muscles recover, his fur shines, and his spirit starts to come alive again. You can tell Thornton isn't just another human to Buck, he's someone worth trusting. Buck doesn't just respect him, he loves him in that deep, primal way only a dog can. The bond between Buck and Thornton? Next level. It's like that unspoken connection between teammates who've been through some serious raids together. Thornton saves Buck, and in return, Buck's loyalty is unmatched. One time, Thornton gets into a bar fight, classic Yukon vibes, and Buck jumps in to protect him. Like, no hesitation. Buck's out here throwing paws and biting anyone who tries to mess with his human. Another time, Thornton jokingly tells Buck to jump off a cliff just to see how loyal he is, and Buck legit starts to do it. Thornton stops him, obviously, but the fact that Buck would have done it? That's wild. And Buck's not just loyal, he's showing off his physical glow-up too. There's this epic moment where Thornton bets some guys that Buck can pull a sled loaded with 1,000 pounds. Everyone's like, no way, but Thornton knows what Buck's capable of. With the whole camp watching, Buck digs deep and pulls that sled like an absolute legend. It's not just a win, it's a flex that leaves everyone speechless. Thornton pockets a fat stack of cash, and Buck? He gets all the pets, praise, and stake he deserves. But here's the thing, even though Buck is thriving with Thornton, he's still feeling that pull, the call of the wild. It's like this quiet voice in the back of his mind, reminding him he's not just a pet or a sled dog. He's something bigger, something untamed. He starts wandering off into the forest, feeling the wilderness calling him back to his roots. At night, he dreams of running with his ancient wolf ancestors, and during the day, he starts hunting and exploring on his own. It's like his instincts are waking up more and more, reminding him who he really is. By the end of chapter 6, Buck's in this wild balancing act between two worlds. On one hand, there's Thornton, the human who's finally shown him real love and trust. On the other, there's the freedom of the wild, pulling him toward a life without rules or leashes. Buck's journey is far from over, but one thing's clear, he's not the same dog he was when this all started. He's stronger, smarter, and more alive than ever, and the wild? It's calling louder than ever. Buck's next move is gonna be epic, no doubt. Alright, strap in, because chapter 7 of The Call of the Wild is where things go full-on primal. Like, if Buck were in a battle royale, this is the point where he ditches his squad, goes lone wolf, literally, and just dominates the wilderness. It's wild, pun totally intended. So, Buck's living his best life with John Thornton, who is basically the only human that ever treated him like the legend he is. Thornton and his crew are out in the deep woods on some gold-digging expedition, and it's all good vibes at first. Buck's got this chill gig as a sled dog, but he's not pulling 9 to 5 energy anymore. Instead, he's feeling this weird pull to go rogue and live his true wolf fantasy. Like, imagine if someone played the Attack on Titan theme in the background every time Buck glanced at the forest. He's out here catching glimpses of this dream life that's all howls, hunts, and freedom, and he's definitely intrigued. But Buck isn't just out here daydreaming, he's got legit wolf game. One day, he meets this wild wolf while he's on a solo side quest. At first, they're doing the animal equivalent of PvP emotes, testing each other, sniffing around like, are we cool or nah? Eventually, they vibe, and Buck's like, okay, maybe I could run with the wild boys. But he still can't fully commit because Thornton's his ride or die. Buck heads back to camp, even though the wilderness is calling him like a siren in a sea of trees. Meanwhile, Buck starts going beast mode in other ways. There's this insane moment where he basically solo kills a massive moose. Like, dude stalks this animal for literal days, showing off patience and stealth that would make any gamer proud. It's like watching a monster hunter grind session where the boss fight finally pays off. When Buck finally takes the moose down, it's not just about food, it's about proving to himself that he's top dog, or top wolf, in this case. But then, plot twist, things at camp go tragically south. Buck comes back from one of his wild runs, probably thinking he's about to share his epic moose story with Thornton, only to find the camp absolutely wrecked. Turns out, some local Yeehaw Gold Rush bandits decided to raid the place. And yeah, they didn't just steal stuff, they took out Thornton and his squad. It's a total gut punch. For Buck, this isn't just losing his humans, it's losing the last anchor to his old life. This is where Buck's final transformation goes full throttle. With no humans left to hold him back, he basically presses rest pack on his character and dumps all his points into wolf energy. He hears the wild calling even louder now, like it's blasting on full surround sound. And guess what? The wild wolves, including that one buddy he made earlier, are still around, like, yo, we got a spot open if you're interested. But Buck's not just walking into the wolf squad as some rando off the streets. Nah, he pulls up like a boss, taking on the alpha wolf in a one-on-one showdown. It's this epic fight scene that feels straight out of a nature documentary narrated by someone with Demon Slayer energy. Buck's got moves, strategy, and pure brute strength, and he totally wins, claiming his spot as the leader of the pack. From there, it's official, Buck's not just surviving in the wild, he's thriving. By the end of the chapter, Buck has fully embraced the call of the wild. He's running with the wolves, leading them like a seasoned general, and living the life he was always meant to live. There's even a cool little detail about how local legends start spreading about this ghostly, almost mythical wolf who's always around the area. Spoiler alert, it's Buck, obviously. He's become this iconic figure of the wilderness, the OG alpha who answers to no one and lives completely free. And that's the tea on chapter 7. Buck's journey isn't just about survival, it's about finding his true self in the most hardcore way possible. From loyal sled dog to wolf pack leader, he's leveled up in every way. It's raw, it's savage, and it's kind of beautiful, too. Buck's final evolution is proof that sometimes you just gotta embrace who you really are, even if it means leaving everything behind.